Kayla, this is what I want you to do with the why. We're going to tighten it up a little bit just for the sake of time. Our training's kind of fast. So you're going to have probably like this. I'll set it up, but you're going to go, all right, the first question we need to answer is why. And we're going to start with Second Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 through 21. At this point, have them write this and then ask them to put their pens down, okay? Because you're going to watch you do this, okay? So have everyone can write this down, but have them put their pens down. And then next thing you do is you're going to ask somebody from the in your at the training to read this. All right. So you write that, pins down. Hey, can someone stand up and read this just to save time? And then they're going to read it, and you're like, okay, there's a lot going. This is training mode. There's a lot going on in this passage, and there's a lot of things we can talk about. But just going to focus on a few things. And we're going to actually start at the end of the passage. And I want you to put verse 21 and then put a cross just like this. And then in verse 21, we see something very significant. We see that Christ gives us his righteousness in exchange. He takes our sin upon him. That is the gospel in essence. And what we call that is the great exchange. And because of that great exchange, we're told in this passage, we have two new identities. And I want to quickly go through those. Put an arrow over here and then put verse 17. We go back to the front of the passage and we see that we become a new creation. All right. And you put a guy with sparkles around him, put the word new. The old way of acting, the old way of thinking, the old patterns begin to pass away. It's the first new identity, very significant. The other new identity we get is actually a job, and it's found in verse 20. So you put verse 20 there, put a circle just like that, put lines, put a cross, a line above, a line below, and put two parentheses. And in that passage, we find out we are ambassadors for Christ. That's significant. And we know that ambassadors don't come up with their own message, they're given a message. And we find also in this passage what that message is. We are ambassadors with a message of reconciliation. I can't get it all in there, but if you could, that'll work out perfect, which is basically the gospel. All right. Now, what I want you to do with your buddy is I want you to do exactly what I did. Verse 21, great exchange. Because of that great exchange, two new identities, new creation, old way of thinking, patterns pass away. And we also now are given a job, and we're called ambassadors for Christ. And ambassadors, we don't come up with our own message. We come with a message of reconciliation. I want you to do that with your buddy. Go back and forth and draw that out. All right. Bam. That's the first rep. All right. Give them, I'd say, about 2 minutes. All right. Then you're going to come back and you go, let me wrap up the why. The reason okay, so stop. So according to Second Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 to 21, if you're a new creation, you're an ambassador. And if you're an ambassador, you're a new creation. You can't be new and not be an ambassador. And you can't be an ambassador and not be new. The reason we share the gospel, it's our identity. That's all you have to do. Two reps, one all the way through, and then another where we wrap it up and draw conclusions on this. And then we end with this is your identity. Let me know if you have any questions, and then they will practice that last one that will take all of 15 seconds each. I hope that makes